Hey, everybody, welcome to the Rainmaker Podcast. And this segment is called the Brand Blueprint. And today we have none other than Jessie Park on, and she's going to be sharing her journey and why, if you haven't got on the trend, why you should start building your personal brand. So, Jessie, thank you for hopping on the show. It's actually the second time being on, funny enough. Now, thinking back, you were on with Earl before. I think this was maybe like a year or two ago.
Mm-hmm.
So welcome back.
I remember that one. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, so take me back. So, how did you even get started in the life insurance business and entrepreneurship in the beginning?
So, so my field is health insurance. So health insurance, and then we upsell life insurance if the client needs it. And I got recruited into insurance. It was actually like a really low point in my life. I had been let go from a corporate job that I had had for a long time, and I was pretty like low, like just rock bottom. Lost my job, was on unemployment, food stamps, single mom, and I took a job in insurance sales. It was only supposed to be until I found me a real job.
Mm,
And it was supposed to be something that I did, that I tried to earn money at while I kept my options open and I went on interviews and things like that. But as it turns out, the way life would work out is that I did like not do well for the first 5 months. I really struggled with sales and dialing and what I had to do to build up my book of business. I wasn't disciplined. I lacked consistency, all of those things why agents fail. And I was on my last month of food stamps and unemployment. And I really had a long heart to heart with myself and said that I'm really going to actually put in my effort, which meant dialing 400 to 600 people a day, building up my book of business. And I want to see if this is actually possible. So once I put it in gear and I had my schedule and I did my time blocking and all of that, I ended up looking back up, and 8 months later, I had written $1 million in business. And fast forward now 7 years, I have a team of over 200 agents, I want to say, and we're at about 150 million lifetime net annualized premium.
wow. So, so thanks for sharing that. But when did it click for you? When did you kind of look yourself in the mirror and it's like, it's the John Wetmore says, it's the day that you get licensed, and then there's the day that you actually kind of go full time. Like,
Yeah,
when
no, I
when
actually
did that happen?
remember. So I got licensed in August of 2016. And like I said, I fumbled, I missed, um, I didn't stick with a routine. I it clicked for me on right around Christmas, which is about, what is that, 5 months later,
Mhm.
whenever I realized that I wasn't going to be able to get my kids good stuff for Christmas.
Mm.
And I got a dog because it was a rescue blind dog. So I got a dog for us for Christmas, like knowing that that would be a really, really good gift, but it was a rescue blind dog. So he
Mhm.
didn't cost anything. So we actually still have him. His name is Caesar, and he's a very much big part of our family. But it just, it hit me that I wasn't going to be able to do what I wanted to do for my children for Christmas. And that hurt really bad. And so I made a promise to myself that after Christmas and after this was over, on New Year's Day of 2017 is when I was going to give it my all. And
Mhm.
um, my bills at the time, like the job I had gotten let go from, I was only making 45K a year. So my living expenses weren't terribly big or
Mhm.
anything. So I really had to make about like 3,800 a month to like break even and have all my bills paid. And so in my head, I was like, well, if I can just sell this many policies and make $3,800 a month, I can
Mhm.
sustain and see where this career takes me. And then like it was something like my fourth month of it. So I say my fourth month in insurance, but it wasn't like my actual fourth month of insurance sucked. But like my real fourth month of me trying and dialing and sticking with my schedule and everything, I surpassed $10,000.
Wow.
And so that's when I knew, I was like, you know what? I'm onto something here. I'm really just going to stick with it. And like the platform that we use, we have free leads, so that's the platform that I'm used to. And so I just kept building on that. And then, of course, you have residual income with health insurance after 7 months. So I was
Yes.
like, I had like a short-term goal in my head that if I can make it to month 7, and if I see my first residual check and it's real and these people aren't lying to me, then I'll stick with it and I won't go back to corporate or whatever. But by that time, I was already pretty much sold on sticking with it anyway. So
Yes. Yeah.
that's, I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, for sure. And I always like to bring on really successful people, but I always keep going back. So apologize if I keep asking the same question. But like, so month 4 clicks, you start crushing it. What was different? Like, what was happening in that in that first month? Like, what was that first 30 days like for you as a new agent? Like, what were some of the challenges that you were facing? Like, what was going through your mind? Like, what was that experience like for you?
So are you talking about like my first actual month in insurance
Yeah,
or
the
the first
first
month
actual
after
month
I
as a life
started?
insurance agent. Yes.
Okay, so well, I was a health insurance agent.
I'm sorry, I
Um,
keep saying that. Health insurance agent.
okay. So it was horrible. I was with a captive company. They only have one product to sell, and their culture is very toxic and it's very Wolf of Wall Street. They sell
Mm,
the same leads to 10 agents right there in the office. There was drug usage in the office. And like I don't play with that stuff. I don't want to be around it. I don't want to be around it to be, like just associated with it at all. So it was very
mm,
uncomfortable. And so then that's when I started working from home because I didn't want to go to the office. But then I very quickly found out that I lacked discipline, because as a new person working from home, you tell yourself, like, for me, it was like a slippery slope. Like I had to take my kids to school. I had to be, and one had to be to school at 7, the other one had to be to school at 8:20. And so, once I got back from doing that, then of course, I'd tell myself, oh, I want to make breakfast. Let me make breakfast for myself and then I'll start dialing. And then it was after I ate my breakfast, or while I'm eating my breakfast, oh, I might as well uh, sit down and watch Price is Right. I deserve it. So I would start watching Price is Right. And then, of course, I have to watch the Showcase Showdown because that's the best part of Price is Right. And then after Price is Right comes on, it's Let's Make a Deal. And I like that show too. And then it was, let me get some laundry done. And that's what it means, like when you lack discipline when you work from home.
mm.
And so
Yeah.
that was a constant struggle for me for um, the first like 4 months until I really had that rock bottom experience heart to heart with myself and I put myself in gear.
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad you mentioned that because I took some notes because I want to make sure that I cover this. So a lot of people that may be watching this, they may be unmotivated. They may lack discipline. And so it seems like it sounds like you just flipped the switch. But I'm curious tactically or like what really happened in your life that how did you get the discipline, right? Like all of a sudden it just changed, but like how did you implement going from undisciplined to
Yeah.
discipline? What did it look like for you?
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, that's just really coming down to my schedule. It's called time blocking, and I write about it in my book. So like I said, I had to take kids to school, and the soonest I could get to work was 9 a.m. So, I realistically, I sat down and I was like, what can my working hours be? I need to dial. That's how I'm going to build up my book of business. And in order to do that, I need to have quiet time and sit and talk on the phone. So when can that be? So my
Mhm.
schedule was 9 to 2. And then I took off at 2 to go pick up my kids because then one got out at 2:20 and the other one got out at 3:40. And then I'd get home with them. I'd help with homework. I'd cook dinner. And then I was back on the phones at 6 and I worked from 6 to midnight. I live in Eastern time zone, so I could call states like Arizona, California, all the way until midnight. And so that's how I dialed from 9 to 2 and 6 to 12. So that was 5 plus 6 hours, so 11 hours a day is what I
Mm.
dialed while being a single mom, raising my kids, and providing transportation to and from school, helping them with their homework, and making dinner. So that was my life for like the first 6 months, and I knew it was going to be hard. And when it comes to flipping the switch, really, it literally was just like a switch because I had struggled for 5 months,
Mhm.
made like 3 sales, saw the potential in the industry, but
Mm.
wasn't what I would call successful at all. And having 1 month left of food stamps and unemployment really kind of kicks you in gear. So, it was really just me coming down to the wire and knowing I wasn't going to have any money come next month unless I did something. And so I decided to stop pissing off and get my ass in gear and do what it took to provide for my kids.
Yeah. And so, wearing all of those hats, man, I run to the office because I got two little ones under three, and my wife handles it. Then I get home, and she kind of passes the baton to me. But driving kids back and forth to school, my daughter had crashed her car, so I did that for a little bit, and I was a crazy person trying to balance things. So for you to be able to build what you build and handle the business and the parent side and the spouse side, and like do all of that, that's absolutely amazing. And that's just one piece of the inspiration that I've gotten from you. So. Very interesting. Met you in Dallas at SWAT, kind of sharing the stage, and that's kind of where I thought that you were on my radar. But actually, you inspired me in another way because I ultimately ended up doing the road shows this year. Was
Oh,
you did
cool.
the road shows? Was that 2022?
Yeah, 2022.
Yes. And I didn't have the confidence to get up there and share my message the way I do now, but I was inspired because Cody and I was having a conversation, and he spoke to that, which is like one or two people that was with me for every show that showed up every time was you and one other person. And so I'm curious on like what impact or what happened in those 12 months that you're kind of taking with you now. How was that experience for you?
You're talking about being on tour?
Yes.
Well, I mean, for me, it was really just to promote my book that I had wrote earlier. Well, I had released that in January of 22. And so I started going on tour with Cody in October of 21.
Mm-hmm.
So really, I signed on for the tour and then for 8% to kind of like build my presence to let single parents, like that's, I mean, I'll take anyone as a recruit as long as they show work ethic, but to show a lot of people that have doubt in themselves that you can do it as long as you put your mind to it,
Right.
and to kind of promote my book. What I got out of that is I met a lot of really great people, yourself included,
Yes.
networked like crazy, but also learned that I am a hermit and I want to stay at home.
Yes, me too. I
I don't
love it, but it just breaks up my sleep, my eating, my
yeah.
energy, the air conditioner, the pillow. Like I need all of that stuff. I'm a
Yeah.
diva.
So like I respect Cody's hustle. I love it. I love that you're on tour. But for me personally, I am not doing that again. It's a lot of traveling and work, and I don't even really leave my house that much. Like I order groceries in, or Milo cooks for me, who is my husband now. And like I don't I'm a hermit. I don't want to travel that much. I just don't. So that's what I learned from that.
Yes, and that's what the thing is designing your life. You think you want these things, and then you go and do them, and you realize that you're not willing to sacrifice just for having that peace. And now you can use a different form of leverage, which is what I want to talk about now. So,
Mhm.
with all the accolades and things that you're doing, obviously going on tour was leverage so that you can use branding, marketing. The audience was already there to kind of promote your book. So it looks like that you've taken another step with just building your own personal brand and social media, which looks absolutely amazing. So I'm also just curious on kind of what other things you're doing as an entrepreneur that's not just in the insurance space, other things that you're doing. But I
Yeah.
want to kind of start with the most important thing, which is this podcast talking about building a personal brand. So
Yeah.
when did the switch flip for you where you're like, okay, I'm gonna really go in on this personal branding thing and start to build an audience to grow my businesses?
So are you talking about my e-commerce brands?
Just in general, when you started to just focus on building a personal brand and how that affects the
I mean, I've
business.
always had a quite a substantial social media presence, like even dating back to like 2011, 2012. I painted, so I am an artist as well. So
Okay.
I had like quite the following from my art back in the day. Um, and so I've always kind of had that personal brand. I've always been very acutely aware of what to post and what not to post on social media. You will never hear me talking about politics or religion or any contribution. I just feel like that stuff for me personally is just not a good look for me. You're never going to see me squabbling online and getting into debates with anyone. I don't even have a burner account for that. Like, that's just a waste of time for me personally.
Yes.
So like, I think a personal brand is important if you plan on building up your presence in some way, shape, or form, right? And so I've kind of always had that. In recent years, I've really focused on branching out past insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Insurance I used as, like, I like to call it a springboard. It's still very much my main business. I have employees now that help me run the agency, so that way I don't have to be glued to my computer or talking to clients all the time anymore. I've built it up to where I have 4 employees that help run the agency. And so therefore I get to explore other things that I like, which is like my e-com businesses and my fashion LTK influencer things and stuff like that. So
Gotcha. And so the reason why so intrigued with you is because you have multi faceted interests in other things where the main business kind of opens up opportunities for the passion stuff, right? Like if you said you're an artist, that means you got this creative side to you as well, which now I can understand. I see some of the things online with e-com and like designing clothing and stuff like that. So were you doing that before the insurance, or now the insurance has allowed you to tap into that? Like, how does that
no,
all? What
yeah,
exactly are you
I
doing?
wasn't doing either. So for my bag brand and my perfume brand, I wasn't doing any of that prior to insurance. Those are all new businesses, started in 2021. Like right around the same time as I started going on tour. That's when I had the idea. And that's whenever I started researching, like, what does it take to build a bag brand? What does it take to have your own perfume line? So they've grown substantially since then. And this year, I'm hopefully, it's 2024 in the beginning. I don't know what it's going to end up being, but it's very, very possible that the e-com business can surpass insurance income wise. So, but it took a lot initial investment and I didn't have any financial help from banks or anything. I'm completely self-funded. And it was quite a chunk of change, I want to say, to launch and get all the inventory and do the designing and work with the manufacturer and get it all imported and learning how to make perfume and like it's a lot of work and so and a lot of time and investment. But I'm hoping that by this year, income wise, it surpasses insurance. And that's the goal, right? You have one business, you start doing well with that one, you use the money to invest in something different, and then you want to make that business up and flourish and start producing income and be positive revenue. And who knows what I'll do next. But right now I'm very much focused on my insurance business and my e-com business.
Gotcha. So as we're talking about the brand blueprint, I know a lot of things that kind of come up for some of the viewers that are maybe entrepreneurs or insurance agents coming up, that they're kind of afraid to post on social media. Or they kind of got this block about being showing up on social media, whether it's the way they look or the way they sound, or some other things that can kind of hold us back. Like if you're speaking to Jesse 10 years ago, getting started with that, what advice would you give somebody that's just kind of starting out and wanting to build a presence on social media?
Yeah, I don't think I have the secret to going viral or anything like that. I post content that resonates with me, and some of it goes really well. Like, we just had a reel surpass 20,000 views the other day,
Wow.
and then some of it flops and doesn't go well. But I would just say, be consistent with your branding, with your image. Um, you know, uh, Pick trending audio, work on like hooks, like to reel people in so they want to work with you, or they want to finish watching the reel. And consistently post, at least 3 times a week, at least. If you can do every day, then do every day, but make sure it's meaningful, right? Sometimes it's just, I see people just post just to post.
Mhm.
And there's so much stuff going on in social media. Do you see all the people selling courses these days and they're all the exact same course? So you know
Yes.
that someone is getting overrides on this course. I want to know who has the master contract for the overrides for this course. Um, so everything has trends. All that stuff is going to fade, you know. The one thing that's going to stay consistent is insurance and e-commerce.
Yeah, for sure. And I've really been kind of focusing on this thing is like if whether you did insurance or you do e-com or if you want to go do solar, whatever else other ideas that you got creatively thought of to do, like having a personal brand and that thing on that gives you a little bit of leverage that you don't really actually start from zero. You got people that know, like, and trust you, and they maybe want to experience some of the new things that you're doing, but it also allows you to kind of show up as yourself. And I think that this day and age we're looking for more authenticity and connection, and social media can give you this kind of facade and kind of barrier to people trying to show up to present themselves in a certain way. And now the people who can show up authentically as themselves, show the creative side, show the business side, show the mom side, show the husband side, show the wife side, right? And do that and still have some type of balance where you're doing business and doing life, and doing that is a huge part of having success. So as we kind of wrap this up, I'm curious on what are some foundational things that, as you're coming off this tour and you've been building your agency and growing and ultimately recruiting, who are some people that you're looking to work with that if they see this video and they're like, I like Jesse's story and I may be interested in contacting her, who are you looking for specifically?
So whenever we do interviews with people, I don't just accept everyone anymore. I don't have enough time to waste with tire kickers. But what I'm looking for is someone who wants to change their life, right? And they have to have that fire, that passion, that fury that I had in the beginning, which was also fueled by desperation. But they want to get things started. I don't really, it's a commission only job. And if you don't put in the work, you're not going to get results. But, I put in the work now solidly for 7 years, and we have annual bonus check awards. And my bonus check this last year was the highest it's ever been at $150,000 for just my bonus.
Wow.
And yeah, and actually deposited today. So today's a good day. But it's crazy, right? I've built this up over time. So the people that we're looking to work with are people that have long-term mentality. They want to build something together. They are willing to take advice. They're willing to, if they come here already knowing something, that's great. But maybe they're willing to also learn something new. There's not just one way to do things. There's several ways to get to the goal. And so if anyone is interested in joining me and you're even just curious about it, I have a video online that kind of goes over what we do and what products we sell and our bonus structure. It's at joininspiredinsurance.com. And then from there, they can book a Zoom meeting and talk to, not me, but talk to Stacy. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Jesse, if somebody wants to connect with you, where's the best place for them to go again? And then if they what are the next steps? Again, if you can just repeat that. I'm sorry, I didn't repeat that well. So if you can just repeat where they can go and then what happens after that.
So I'm on Instagram at it's Jessie Park. So ITSJESSIPARK. And then if they want to find out more about my bag line or my perfume line, it's also linked in my bio there. And then if they want to join me in insurance and work with me, they can go to www.joininspiredinsurance.com.
Awesome. Well, Jesse, I know you're a busy woman with many hats, so I won't keep you any longer. Thank you so much for hopping on the Rainmaker podcast. And this is the Brand Blueprint.